What if the things that haunt your deepest nightmares aren't just stories, but raw, unfiltered moments caught on camera when nobody was supposed to be looking? For years, we've relied on security cameras to keep us safe, to be our silent sentinels watching over homes, businesses, and even public spaces. But sometimes, these lenses capture something else entirely, something that defies logic, challenges belief, and peels back the comforting layers of our understanding of reality. Tonight, we're not talking about glitches or blurry shadows or easy-to-debunk hoaxes. We're diving deep into 3 chilling pieces of footage pulled from the archives, each one a verified incident that most people refuse to believe even exists. These are the moments when the veil thins, when the impossible stares right back at the lens. Prepare yourself, because once you see what these cameras saw, you might never look at the dark the same way again. Our first stop takes us to the heart of a bustling city, a luxury hotel in Chicago. A place of comfort, extravagance, and transient stays. The specific footage we're examining is timestamped precisely at 3:33 a.m., a time often whispered about in hushed tones, a moment when the world feels like it's holding its breath, and things that shouldn't stir often do. The camera in question is fixed inside an elevator car, watching the doors. When the footage begins, the elevator doors slide open onto an impeccably lit, empty hallway. For a full 10 agonizing seconds, nothing happens. The silence in the recording is almost deafening, broken only by the faint hum of the elevator machinery. You expect the doors to close, for the routine to continue, but then something utterly impossible occurs. A man, dressed in a crisp, dark suit, appears, but he doesn't walk into the elevator. He steps backward into the frame, as if pulled by an invisible string. His movements are unnatural, jerky, like a broken puppet marionette by an unseen force. He doesn't turn around. Instead, he shuffles further into the elevator, his back still to the camera, until he's facing the far corner of the car. There's no one else there, just him and the cold, metallic walls. But the most disturbing part isn't his strange entry or his rigid posture. It's what he's doing. His lips are moving, rapidly, frantically, as if he's engaged in a desperate, one-sided conversation. The audio, though faint, picks up the cadence of speech, but it's a language no one has ever been able to identify. It's guttural, fragmented, and laced with an undertone that sends a shiver down your spine. Now, let's break down the disturbing details that cement this footage as something beyond explanation. Hotel records, checked against the timestamp, showed no one entered the elevator on that floor for over 3 hours before or after this incident. Furthermore, the man's breath is clearly visible, fogging the polished stainless steel of the elevator wall. In an otherwise climate-controlled, luxury hotel, this detail alone is an anomaly. But the true horror lies in a detail so subtle, yet so profound, it will make your blood run cold. As he faces the corner, speaking his unknown tongue, his face is reflected in the polished surface of the elevator door. And while his physical form is still and silent from our view, the reflection is moving. His reflection is looking directly at the camera, a wide, unsettling smile stretching across its face, while the man himself, in the same reflection, appears to be silently crying. One of the top forensic analysts who reviewed this footage described it as a perfect visual paradox, impossible by the laws of physics and optics. Who was he talking to? Why the backward entrance? And how could his reflection be a separate entity, a twisted mimicry of despair and joy simultaneously? The hotel management, predictably, had no answers, only a sudden, unexplained closure of room 904 indefinitely. Our next piece of evidence takes us away from the polished halls of a city hotel and into the quiet, rural landscape of Ohio. Specifically, to a nursery school, a place typically filled with laughter, the joyful chaos of children, and the bright promise of new beginnings. But at midnight, the scene is transformed into something else entirely. The security camera is positioned to overlook an empty playground. The swings hang still, the seesaw rests silently, and the sandbox lies undisturbed. It's a peaceful, almost idyllic scene, bathed in the pale glow of the moon. Then, the tranquility shatters. Slowly, deliberately, one of the swings begins to move. Not a gentle sway, but a full, arc-like motion, as if someone just launched themselves off it. And then, another swing beside it starts to move, mirroring the first. You might think, the wind. But the camera shows us the answer to that thought. The leaves on the surrounding trees are absolutely still, not even a whisper. The air is dead calm. Then, the seesaw, a sturdy metal and wood contraption, begins to press down on one side, slowly, steadily, as if a child has just landed on it with full force. A high-pitched creaking sound, the unmistakable groan of stressed metal, fills the otherwise silent recording. This isn't the gentle creak of old wood in the breeze. This is the sound of significant weight shifting. The cameras kept rolling, capturing these impossible movements. And as if the visuals weren't unsettling enough, the next morning, the groundskeeper made a discovery that still haunts him. On the dusty pavement directly beneath where the swings had been moving and leading to the seesaw were footprints. Small, distinct footprints. Barefoot. They weren't scattered or random. They were walking in circles, a playful, rhythmic pattern of invisible children. The prints were too small to be an adult's, too clear to be mistaken for animal tracks. The most chilling part? They stopped abruptly, as if the unseen players had simply vanished into thin air. The security guard on duty that night, a man named Frank, swore he saw nothing out of the ordinary when he made his rounds. His patrol logs confirm he passed by the playground multiple times during the 47 minutes the camera recorded invisible children playing, yet he reported no activity. He even remarked on how unusually quiet and still the night was. The school director, a kind woman who had run the nursery for decades, finally broke her silence when local news pressed for answers about the sudden closure of the school the following week. With a voice trembling with a mix of fear and resignation, she revealed a dark secret about the land itself. Generations ago, before the nursery school, before the development, this plot of ground was an unmarked cemetery, specifically for children who had tragically passed during an epidemic that swept through the region in the late 1800s. She spoke of families too poor to afford proper burials, of innocent souls laid to rest without ceremony. Could it be that those children, long forgotten by history, were still playing in their eternal playground, visible only to the cold, unblinking eye of a security camera? The playground equipment was removed, the area fenced off, and the school now stands as an empty, silent monument to what happens when the forgotten decide to play again. Our final piece of footage transports us halfway across the globe to a bustling department store in the heart of Tokyo. It's a place of vibrant commerce, fashion, and endless displays. The camera in question is positioned in the winter coat section, a quiet corner featuring a display of seasonal clothing draped over a collection of mannequins. These aren't fancy, animated models. They are the standard, unmoving, plastic figures, hollow inside, designed to be stationary and expressionless. One, in particular, a female mannequin with a smooth, porcelain-like face and a serene, almost detached expression, stands front and center, modeling a plush, faux fur coat. The timestamp reads 2 a.m., deep into the quiet hours after the store has closed, when only the hum of electricity and the watchful gaze of the security cameras remain. For nearly an hour, nothing stirs. The mannequins are exactly as they were left at closing, perfect, inanimate props. Then you see it. The female mannequin, the one with the porcelain face, slowly, deliberately, turns her head. It's not a subtle shift, it's a full 90-degree rotation, her gaze now fixed directly on the security camera. There's no sound, no creak of plastic, just that chilling, silent movement. Her painted eyes, devoid of life, stare straight into the lens, unblinking, unwavering. It feels like she's looking right through you, beyond the camera, into something unseen. The camera continues to record, and the impossible happens again. After a long, unnerving moment of silent staring, she steps off her platform. Not a stumble, not a fall, but a graceful, measured step onto the polished tile floor. The sound of her plastic body hitting the floor is surprisingly soft, a muted thud. Then, with the slow, almost deliberate pace of someone on a leisurely stroll, she walks. Her movements are stiff, yet purposeful, heading directly towards the storage room at the back of the department. The camera follows her until she disappears from view, swallowed by the darkness of the storeroom entrance. She never reappears on the footage. The security guard monitoring the feed that night reported no strange activity. He later claimed he must have been on a bathroom break or distracted, explaining why he missed the entire 20-minute sequence. The next morning, when the store opened, the female mannequin was back in her original pose, on her platform, coat perfectly arranged. It was as if nothing had ever happened. But then, an employee noticed something odd. The mannequin was holding something in her plastic hand. It was a small, plastic security tag, the kind used to deter shoplifters. This particular tag had been reported missing 5 years prior, taken from a child's winter coat that had never been sold. It was an item long forgotten, presumed lost forever. How it ended up in the mannequin's hand, or how the mannequin herself moved, remains a terrifying, unsolved mystery that store employees still whisper about in hushed tones. Was it a prank? An elaborate hoax? Or did something truly inexplicable occur in that department store in the dead of night? Something that defies our understanding of inanimate objects? The footage offers no easy answers, only a cold, hard truth that stares back from the screen. You've just witnessed 3 moments that challenge everything you think you know about the world around you. Each piece of footage has been put through the ringer. Timestamp analysis confirms every second. Audio enhancement reveals the unsettling whispers and creaks. Expert reviews, from forensic analysts to paranormal investigators, have scrutinized every pixel, every shadow. There are no glitches, no obvious cuts, no signs of digital manipulation. What you saw wasn't a story concocted for entertainment. This is reality, raw and unedited, captured by the very devices meant to protect us from the seen, only to reveal the terrifying unseen. These cameras, these silent witnesses, are showing us that perhaps some doors are not meant to be opened, some truths are better left buried. They reveal that the lines between what we call normal and what we deem impossible are blurring, day by day, frame by frame. Sometimes, our minds refuse to accept what our eyes are forced to see. If you're brave enough to confront more chilling realities, click the next video to face another terrifying truth.